Welcome along to part 2 of Fitness in 2026, what's actually worth your time. So straight in with Dan. This is going to be things we believed 10 years ago that we don't anymore. So yeah, what did Dan from 10 years ago confidently tell people that Dan today thinks was complete shite?
You know what it is? I don't actually think there's a lot. I think I've evolved massively as a coach, but I don't feel like I've ever I don't think there's anything significantly that I would have said 10 years ago that I'm massively... I feel like we're always on the right track. And obviously that things have evolved, we've learned more, we've got better, we've become more nuanced within things, but I don't feel like there was anything specifically that was like, right, that was sort of fundamentally wrong. I think we've improved a lot in the way we measure progress, things like bloody body calipers and tape measures, things like that. Just wouldn't even think about doing it these days. There's far better ways to measure progress. Obviously the apps,
we're against that, really,
apps helped massively, just because it's inaccurate. So I don't think there's ever been a revolution, just evolution.
Yeah, when I seen this question, I was 10 years ago, it's like, well, our opinions and views haven't changed in 10 years. Mine in 14, 15 years has. It was like that time before that. The time before Dan, that was it's like the land before time, isn't it?
It was AD and...
Yeah, AD and BC AD. It basically was, because for me, like, obviously 10 things, in 10 years, nothing's changed really. Like, believed wise, nah, not really. I mean, so I think some of the questions what I've got here, like, it'll spark a little bit of things within probably programming, rest timing and all the rest of it. Probably the way we've fundamentally changed how we coach people, just in little bits. But yeah, like for me, let's say the 13, 14 year mark, I'll give a very brief one of fucking butter and coffee. with the bulletproof coffee there, the bulletproof coffee. What was it? Paleo? Paleo, fucking trying to eat as clean as possible, fucking walking into a butcher's and asking if they had grass-fed fucking beef. Do you know what I mean? Like, just because it was this, at the time, there wasn't as much from part 1, fitness trends online, so there was only a handful of sort of people, like a handful of big podcasts at the time, and I'm talking 14, 15 years ago, and I listened to them religiously, so like those were like me gods, and then it was, fucking okay, just count your calories.
Yeah, I got lucky because I just got onto good people very early. I just ended up following a good path, so everyone that influenced us was always of the right sort of persuasion.
But the thing is, you came to us through Ben Coomber, and I got into my bad habits through not necessarily Ben Coomber himself, but the people who he had on the podcasts and stuff like that.
He changed massively in his early years as well.
Well, he did, yeah, because what was his...
I didn't
body type nutrition, wasn't it? Yeah. So it was originally, I don't know if it's still, is it still called that?
Honestly, I don't know. I know they did the academy stuff because they were doing the same thing as like precision nutrition, but like a British version.
Yeah.
But
it was the body type nutrition.
You never hear anything about it anymore. I only ever see the awesome supplements.
Yeah.
Which I still use to this day, but I don't know if they still do any of the other stuff.
Because that remember, so there was a body type nutrition boot, and it had loads and loads and loads and loads of questions, but then they broke it down into a singular one, and then like to get their coaching was through what body type you had.
Yeah, a little bit like, I don't know if it was the same as the Charles Poliquin one, but he used to do the thingy, didn't he, for the spot fat, like the caliper, so depending on where you held your fat, which does obviously, hormones do affect that, they would then adapt your nutrition based on that and stuff, but yeah, we've all moved on.
Yeah, we've moved on. So 10 things, but I'll go through them and we'll see what has actually changed in the last 10 years. Well, what we believed 10 years ago that we don't anymore. So how has the way we program changed?
I think obviously more of the changes in programming have always been just to accommodate the style of like the group training. So it's more been like, any changes have more been logistically focused than sort of changing because we were doing something wrong or different. It's just optimizing it for the current parameters in which we work under. Obviously, we've phased out the carnage style more over the years, more towards weight training. So that's been a bit of a shift in line with, well, we know that this is probably the better way for people to be training.
Yeah.
Not
And
that,
for the people who we like to train as well, isn't it? Yeah,
definitely. Not that it's like nothing's ever wrong or bad. It's just this. We think this is a slightly better way of doing things.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of that, but yeah, I think our programming is still largely the same. I mean, we've phased out some of the. We used to do like things like German volume and stuff like that. Which
Yeah.
it was convenient, but for the average person, it just wasn't the right way to do things. Again, it's a lot of redundant volume, a lot of unnecessary fatigue. So we got phased out things like that relatively quickly.
Back squat into fucking reverse lunges, 10 back squat, 10 reverse lunges, fucking 10 sets. Ouch.
But yeah, that's kind of where we're starting. It didn't take long to evolve away from that. So definitely, just as always, just evolution, not revolution.
Well, I suppose it's been. It all works like the weightlifting side. Even German volume works. Do you know what I mean? But it's what we've found, because basically we've had this like canvas. We've had a canvas, and we've been able to practice. That doesn't sound right. But we've learned like what actually works for the average person, and like, well, okay, this was too much, and then over time we've actually what's it called? It's like an experiment.
Oh, but
do you know what I mean?
Like,
it's research.
We always say so. Like whenever you talk to or you look at like sort of the people at the forefront of the industry, you always have sort of two camps, which is like the lab guy sitting in the sports science labs doing the research, and then you've actually got the on the ground trainers. And there's always been a little bit more like button heads. You need both. You need to sort of say, right, well, this is what the research says. Let's test it out and see how it works. And normally you end up having to find something in the middle, because what works in practical doesn't always show up 100% in theory. What works 100% in theory doesn't necessarily work 100% in practice with real people who aren't perfect. You only have to look at an anatomy book to see that. You know what I mean? You can look at the perfect anatomy of the squat, and you can study it and study it and study it. You could literally master how to coach the perfect squat, and then your first client walks in, and they are not in any way similar anatomically to this ideal model of the perfect squat. You know what I mean? It's real people blur the lines from textbooks, and it's always find that middle ground. So yeah, it is. It's as much as we're always researching the latest studies, keeping on top of the research, it's also actually constantly developing in practice.
Yeah, it's how does that transfer over, and what we've found is that most of it doesn't transfer over. Like let's say it has to be precision, 3 seconds down with a 1 second hold and a 1 second pause and a It's like you can't coach people like that.
That's not even what the research says. We've gone beyond that. That's the thing. It's like I shared a fantastic video the other day. I don't know if you've seen it. It was Sebastian Webb, Australian strength coach. He was like Thor's coach. He's probably one of the best powerlifting coaches on the planet. Like very top end people. Like you say, he's probably one of that small group of people who I follow because I trust them. And he was saying like he'd completely changed his mind about tempo. It's like because the research says 1 to 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Anything more than that, and you're just risking a drop in intensity at the top. And it's like, so the research doesn't always, it changes. And like what people don't understand studies. People who've never been in an academic background don't understand how studies work. And that a lot of the time they're either incredibly flawed, or you can prove the same thing doing many different things. Because truthfully, like very rarely is anything wrong. Like you could train like that and get great results. You could train like that and get great results. You could train like that and get great results. What's more important is the fact that you're doing it consistently and you're applying the basic principles. The specifics aren't really that important. I think that's probably been, if you say, the biggest change. I know I mentioned it on last week's. When I first started, obviously, I'm a very literal person. So like, right, well, that's a program. That's how many sets you do. That's how many reps you do. That's how long you rest. But it's like then as you develop and you become more knowledgeable and more experienced and you grow as a coach, you realise like the top coaches aren't following another coach's plan or program. You get a feel and you learn how to do it within it's very live, and reactive, and like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just write something on paper and say that's how this session's going to go when you can't see what someone's doing. I used to very much be like, right, that's your weight for these sets. You're doing this weight for that. Now I tend to work up a lot more. I'll see how it looks. If it's not there the day, it's not there. If they're strong today, right, we'll go for it. We'll go further than what we planned. I won't stick to set parameters because people aren't fixed parameters. For all you know, like one day they're coming in and they've been up all night with a Ben.
Yeah.
Haven't ate, they've had shit sleep, they're not going to be able to hit that number that's on the board. One day, everything might be lying, they might come in, might have been fucking foaming with the missus, come flying through the door and want to lift the world and be able to. No, but do you know what I mean? It's like, you have to be far more open and flexible. And like I said, that comes from experience. All the practical stuff I learned pretty much straight away in the first sort of 3 to 5 years of being in the industry, probably less than that. And then the rest of the time, it's developing the nuance and the skills. But all the top coaches need a combination of both. You can't just be practical, you can't just be theory.
It's all on the shop floor, isn't it? Did we used to think people needed more variety than they actually do?
I don't think I've ever believed. Thing is, clients do need variety, but it's more from a psychological point of view. And again, this is the thing with experience, we've become far more in tune with psychology, and you realise how big of a part of like appeasing clients actually is. And like, you have to keep your clients happy. You have to keep things fresh for your clients, and clients like to do new and different exercises. We were saying it before, people want a little bit of excitement, a little bit of variation. They want the training to be interesting, because boring and monotonous doesn't appeal to the average person. In exercise variety is one of the ways we can do that. It's one of the ways we can incorporate a little bit of excitement into it. Whereas if it's just literally, right, you're coming in, you're just going to do a squat pattern, but a squat pattern's a squat pattern, so we're just going to keep the same squat pattern all the time. They're just going to get so bored.
Yeah.
So it's like, right, we'll change it up. A hinge pattern's a hinge pattern, we'll change it up. A lunge pattern's a lunge pattern, we'll change it up. And it's just keeping enough variety that like they don't get bored. In terms of needing variety, no. What they need is progressive overload, and you can progressively overload one exercise indefinitely and still make progress. Like, I trained for at least 3 years with nothing more than a bar and a set of squat stands. I still progressed, even though I was doing the same exercises week in, week out. What I would say though is people take it too far now, in the sense that they add in unnecessary variation. Variation, when it makes sense, is a good tool. Variation for the sake of variation is fucking nonsense. When you see people starting to combine exercises and like do a lunge with a curl, and it's like, what the fuck you doing? All you're doing is two exercises. Like, if you're lunging away at your curl and it's not heavy enough to be lunging it, and it just ends up being, they're just trying to make a fucking circus of it. Realistically, most coaches should have, maybe say, if we think of the 7 movement patterns, maybe say 5 exercises for each movement pattern that they'll cycle through. That allows the client to become proficient in the exercise. We know that you have to do something as 10,000 times to become an expert. I know it's not a set figure, but that's it's one of those things. You have to do something a lot to become very good at it. So therefore, we need them to be doing the exercises regularly to become good enough to be able to apply force efficiently enough through that movement to progressively overload it. If they're only ever doing an exercise once and then you're changing it up and changing it and changing it and changing it, they're never going to get good at the exercises. And if they don't get good at the exercises in terms of technique, they can't apply force to it and they can't overload the muscles. So you need variety to prevent boredom, but not so much variety that it becomes detrimental to progress.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely fell into the trap of like need more variety years ago, like battle ropes at the end of a session. Yeah. Or do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think things like that with the finisher, like they're never doing anyone any harm.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit of extra in it.
Yeah, but it's as a coach thinking that they need it type thing, and then thinking that they need to be sweating before they leave a session. And when doing the programming, like when it was the German volume, it was the 6, 12, 25. When it was the 5, like it was like a big shift in.
Yeah.
It was something extravagant. Like it sort of had a name, German volume, 6, 12, 25, 5 by 5. Yeah. And now it's just like 8 to 12.
I would say like obviously the meso cycle now is, as it stands, like the 24-week overall cycle, which is then breaking into 4-week blocks, 4-week weeks, is now a lot more reflective of how I've always trained. Yeah. In a sense of like, and it comes back to that thing of like, I believe you should always be training the clients in the way that you train. It's like, it's the same with like the group exercises, where people try to do group weightlifting. They don't do group weight training. We do proper group weight training where everything's actually structured. They'll like have 20 people stood in doing like squats on the same weight one person's doing 30 reps, the other person's doing 3.
Yeah.
Can't possibly coach or keep an eye on them. Coaches not training the clients how they train themselves. So like any coach that's in shape is going to train pretty much how we train. They're going to have a split, they're going to follow a thing. But then in order to try to squeeze the clients in and like get more people through the door, they then sacrifice the optimization. So they're going, all right, come and train with me. This is what I can do. This is how I look. But then they train the clients completely different to how they train themselves.
Yeah.
It's like if you train yourself in a certain way, it's because you believe that that's the best way to train. Because nobody's choosing to train themselves in a way that they don't believe in. So you should treat that, the way you train your client should reflect that.
Well, it's like why we phased out the group training, because I didn't believe.
And I think it gives the clients a lot of confidence when they say, oh, what do you do? Exactly what you do.
Yeah.
Exactly what you do, just with a bit more weight and maybe a little bit more, few extras at the beginning or the end that maybe aren't relevant to you. I'm not going to get a client to do box jumps. I enjoy doing them because it's just something I want to be able to do forever.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stop because I want to be able to do it forever. There's no benefit to a client doing that, so we'll add little things at the beginning and the end of a session that I wouldn't get them to do, but the actual core of the session is exactly the same.
Yeah, well, I actually do the session. So it's like,
you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of clients find a lot of confidence in that.
Yeah, with Sarah as well. Sarah,
why? If a coach trains a certain way, it's because they believe it's the best way. So why aren't they training you like that? Obviously, there's
gold.
There's specialization, but in general, it should.
I'm not going to coach a marathon runner to run a marathon by training them just weights.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? But
you could go back. You could order 10 textbooks on periodization and programming, and read those 10 textbooks, and it will be reflective of what we do here. And like I said, that necessarily wasn't always the case, but this is why we evolve. And I think people always think there's a shame attached to sitting there and saying, "Oh, we've changed." I'd be more embarrassed to sit here and look at you and say I haven't changed.
Yeah.
In 10 years. Because if you've been doing this in 10 years and haven't evolved or changed or improved in any capacity, that's failure. Failure isn't finding a better way to doing something and then moving with it.
Yeah. Did we do too much conditioning?
It depends what you're talking about. Are you talking about the?
It's hard, isn't it? Really, because that's like because we so basically, if you don't know, we had ours separate. We never combined the two. Although in saying that, I mean, many years ago, I think we did like out the 4 days on the weight training, we slapped in the conditioning from time to time, didn't we? But I think that same again. We wanted variety. We wanted them to move that little bit more. We wanted them to sweat.
I don't think there's any harm in like doing a little bit at the end of a session, especially higher intensity stuff, because with high intensity stuff, you don't have to do a lot of it. You could fit in 5 minutes something that would
like a Tabata.
Would peak someone's heart rate. I'll do it. Like, I'll finish a pull session and I'll do like a 500 meter row, just because it's good to get. I get loads of low level activity in where I've got my heart rate's sort of. I hate the zone stuff, but if you want to say a zone 2 or whatever, when I'm doing my weights, it's going to be sitting there. When I'm walking, you're doing the zone 1. So I do think it is good to get into those higher rates, but because with the higher stuff, you don't have to do a lot. So doing a little bit at the end of a session, which I do myself, like I said, I don't necessarily do it for clients because I don't think you need a coach to get your heart rate up. You can go and do that by yourself. If that's something that motivates you and what you want to go and do a little bit of conditioning, you can do that by yourself. You don't need me to stand over the top of you when you're on an exercise machine. The most benefit you can reap from me is to have me coaching your weight sessions. But yeah, I don't think it's too much. It would be too much if it was taken away from the session.
Yeah.
As long as it's additional and on top of all the important stuff that you need to do, it's not going to do harm. If it's instead of, then you probably start to have problems.
I suppose we've put that free Saturday on, haven't we? Where like there's a bit of a conditioning one there, and it's like if you want to do it, do it.
Well, I always break things down to scale of change, don't I? And it's like for somebody who's quite overweight, who hasn't been training, they do not need to be doing any additional cardio. Just walking up a bank, an incline, walking to Tesco, an incline is going to get their heart rate going. Doing just your weights, doing the warm up is going to get their heart thing. They don't need to be. You're going to kill them, like, or just tie them out so much that they're not going to come back. However, if you look at our experienced clients, the ones who've been here a lot of years, who've been through a few shreds, who have great body compositions, they're strong, they're fit, there's no excuse for people in that position not to be prioritising their heart health, because they've removed all the other risks. At the minute, if you, I just look at risk. When I take somebody, what's the current risk to your health? What in your lifestyle is risking your health? And if that's been massively overweight, right, we need to fix that first. If that's lifestyle issues, drinking too much, right, we need to fix that. Once they're all fixed, it's then, right, well, how can we start optimizing and making sure that you're as fit as possible for as long as possible? And yes, spending time within the higher heart rates is important for that. So by all means, like you say, come in on the Saturday, do a session where you are incorporating some cardio. I think all the research backs that up. But it's choosing when to apply it. And
it's not when you first start.
It's not for the first start. And this is, again, it kind of goes back to like the high rock stuff. It's a great way to train. Once a week if you're in shape, by all means go and do a thing, but you should be doing all of the other basics, and you need to be fixing all of the other problems at the start. If you look at our average clients, middle age, overweight, haven't trained a lot for years, it's not appropriate to be prescribing high intensity cardio until we've fixed all of the other issues.
Tell you what, that's probably why a lot of the high rocks people look like they're in very good nick, because they've got all the ducks in the row before.
Well, that's the thing. The people who are in shape, they're already in shape before they're doing it. They're not we get people in shape. We're taking people and making them lose £100, and by the time they're finished, if they want to go and do a high rocks, they probably could.
Yeah.
But they couldn't rock up at the high rocks gym and start doing that. And it's popular with young, healthy, active people. Great, because they're already young and healthy and active people. We'd all love to be just coaching young, fit, healthy, active people. It would make our lives easier, but it wouldn't be anywhere near. It wouldn't be anywhere near as rewarding. I certainly wouldn't get the satisfaction. But like I say, it's you have to coach what's in front of you and fix problems first. You can't just say, right, well, this is how you should be training. Everything's individual to the person. It needs to be what's right for them in this moment.
Have we changed our opinions on how hard people need to train?
Again, I think I focus a lot more on how a set looks now and focus on intensity, in a sense of making sure that those last couple of reps, regardless of where, I don't care what number rep it is. I don't care if it's number 6. I don't care if it's number 12. I'm looking for that. And the last couple of reps, they need to be pushing it. Whereas in the past, I think I'd probably, certainly when I was younger, it was apply we're going to do 4 sets of 12. I want every single rep to be a good controlled rep, perfect form. But they never, and you need that, and you need that intensity, and that's changed. And again, that's in line with research. It's you can only, I'm not sitting in a lab, I'm not doing these tests. All I can ever do is read what comes in front of me, come up with my own opinion, have a look and see what other people who I respect have an opinion on, put all those ideas together and come to my own conclusion. And that's what we've always done for the last 10 years. It's about looking to see what's available, what information's available, how it's being perceived by the industry in general, and then applying it. And like I said, I do think that in the past I always didn't prioritise making sure that people were really
struggling on the last few.
Getting them last couple of I don't want to say ugly reps in, because ugly implies bad form. It's not bad form. Within the parameters of good form, there should be a struggle.
Well, that's what I'm always repeating now. Wherever I'm at, whichever unit I'm in, I'm always when I didn't get 12, and I was failure's winning in this realm.
Yeah, this is the biggest misconception clients have, and I can't get through to them. If you've done 1 week, say you do 4 sets of 8 on 20, and you then go up to 22, and you get 4 sets of 6, that's success. It's not failure, and they can't recognise that. They just think when it's a rep range, you need to get the higher number, and it's not. You're better off. You need to get the number which creates the struggle, which creates the need for a greater push that's going to actually force that adaptation in your body. If you're doing something that's comfortable, your body doesn't need to adapt, it can do it. You're doing things that you can already do, unless you're not trying to do something that your body really struggles to do. It's got no reason to adapt.
Yeah, it's let's say you did three sets, and we did say it's in between 12 reps type thing, and they got 12 reps, 11 reps, 8 reps in those 3 sets. That's the perfect thing you could do. Yeah. Because if you've pushed in any way, you've actually failed on those things, it's brilliant. That's the rep range. That you're on the right weight.
But obviously it depends, because obviously on strength training, would want them getting the clean reps.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If on things like the 5x5 and stuff, when the priority is to be building muscular strength as opposed to hypertrophy, it's a different stimulus we're trying to elicit. We're trying to get those clean reps because we're trying to build strength, but then there's other elements, other sections of the program where we're trying to go for a different stimulus, where we're trying to focus on different things, and it's always balancing everything. And having, like I said, the depth of understanding and the intelligence to do that. And I think that's a lot of the time where people within the industry struggle, because it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, and it is, I mean, don't get us wrong, we've got to coach them in to be that little bit more advanced before we can push them to that.
Oh, well,
do you know what I mean?
It's like if somebody's new, they're going to be doing Met 4 easy sets because
exactly.
my focus at that moment in time is getting them to become better at the exercise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if they're struggling, lifting too heavy too quickly, they're not going to develop good form. You have to get them but again, you could go on forever explaining all these little specifics and things. This is what we're talking about when we're saying about 10 years of experience. It's that depth of understanding of what every client needs in that moment.
Yeah, it's like in the first couple of months, it's like, let's say if it was 8 to 12 reps, be like, right, you're doing 3 sets of 12, and then the next week, like, it's just going to go up in weight, 3 sets of 12 again, little bit increment.
I think using rep ranges more, in the sense of we always used obviously weight increments to obviously for progressive resistance. Use rep ranges a lot more now. Right, well, you got 10 reps on that. We'll go for 11 this week. It creates a smaller jump, and sometimes if especially with advanced, that next jump in weight might be too far. So it's something else we can throw in to like make that to make the progression, and it's just another thing we can use, another thing that we've included and developed that works great.
I think we had like a flat dumbbell press or something like that in one of the last cycle. And what did I get the week before? It was, let's say it was 10, 10, 10. And I got like 9, 9, 9. And then it was like, shit, well, I've got to get fucking more reps, so I like got 13 just to get one more rep.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that's a massive win. One rep for me was a massive win.
Obviously, I see Dorian Yates posts quite a lot of stuff, and some stuff I think he's great actually for a bodybuilder. He's probably one of the best. But he was saying that it was like you would sit down with his training plan before his thing and just look through any exercise and like just want to go in. All he wanted from that session was to just get one more rep on one more exercise. If you just get one more thing, just anything, just one more rep or any like. I mean, you're talking the top person in the world. What he was doing at the time. But it's like that was it. That whole goal of that session was just do maybe just one more rep on one more exercise. It was which exercise am I going to do it on today? And it's like most people would see that as like shit progress.
Yeah.
But it's just you don't realise as you become more advanced, progress becomes exceptionally slow.
Yeah.
And that is a big amount of progress. To do that one more rep is fucking huge.
Well, I shared me 1 rep max bench from 10 years ago, which was 130, and even since that 10 years, I've only ever hit a 140. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not bothered.
For your body weight. Do you know what I mean? It's and you're natural. And you're getting older as well, which all makes a massive amount of difference. But I do think one of the first things clients say, especially like I've had a few recently who've been training by themselves already, and that's the biggest change. They're like, shit, I've just not been lifting heavy enough.
Yeah.
Because when you buy yourself, you just go in and you just do what you can do. But if you constantly do what you can do and comfortable, your body's got no reason to adapt, so you don't change. You don't get stronger.
Yeah, we've just had a woman, her husband's been with us a little bit, and she's in shape. She's in her late 50s. I hope I don't get that wrong. But late 50s, she's in shape. She's always like dedicated herself. Do you know what I mean? So she never found the reason to come here.
Yeah.
And he was like, just come along and do it. And within like a couple of weeks, it's like, God, I've been wasting so much time. Like the weights what I've went up on and the improvements what I've like just dialed in. Because where he works, where he goes away a lot. So he's like, we've been put the program on his app for him.
Yeah.
So while he's been away and like she's been going through that with him, it's like, whoa, this is like proper programming.
Most people work out.
Yeah.
Most people who go to the gym, even people who go to the gym their whole lives, they'll work out. Very few people train. And very few people will ever work under elite coaches. And I'm not ashamed to say that like I would class ourselves as that in terms of knowledge, in terms of experience, in terms of result. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
No, not at all.
Because we've got the evidence to back that up. Very few people will ever do that. They won't. Normally that level of coaching isn't reserved for normal people. Normal people don't train like that. Normal people work out. They go to the gym and they'll follow a program, or they'll have like one PT session a week. Outside of like athletes and people like that, there's not many people getting properly trained by elite coaches who are literally managing every single facet of everything and thinking about it in this depth.
Fucking hell, between me, you and Sarah, Jesus hell, fucking, How old am I? See, I've got 15 years behind us.
You're probably pushing 40 years, isn't it?
Sarah's got 11 years, 12 years.
Like, so, I mean, well, 30 easily, and then by the time we add the odd years 40, in, it's probably pushing 40 years. So.
Yeah, fucking 40 years worth of experience. And that's not just... That's 40 years of working with thousands of different people in under every scenario you can possibly think of.
And getting success.
And getting success with
success isn't just measured in the way that people think it is, in the sense of like...
The before and
after. If you've
after.
just got constantly clients coming in, losing 20, 30 pound, leaving you and putting the weight back on, that's not success. If clients are coming in and they're regularly getting injured, that's not success. Success is long-term progress, long-term improvement, long-term results.
Yeah. People who stay with you long term as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, that baffles people years. When people come in, like, say how long people have been there, and like it baffles people like me constantly. Like I've only got a handful of clients who haven't been with us over a year. Yeah. And like when people start, it baffles them.
But it's coming up the third birthday soon, and you've got people who've been there 3 years.
It is. It's but you've only got to look at like Durham. I mean, out of the group that was here before I left, I mean, how many were here like over 5 years?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
with people from your session where you left 3 years ago still there.
Everything has to be supported by evidence.
Yeah,
and there's the evidence.
We've got it fucking all. What exercises did we used to think everyone had to do?
It's probably got to be the same, like the compound exercises. Do you know what I mean? Things like your back squats, and it's weird because if someone says, right, name the 10 best exercises, they won't have changed in 10 years. I'll still give you the same 10 exercises now that I probably would have given you 10 years ago. The difference is not for everyone.
No.
Application, like I say, I'm far more likely now to just say, you're doing something else today. I think it comes with confidence as well. Having the conviction in yourself to sort of say, that's not an appropriate exercise for you. I'm going to get you to do this yourself rather than trying to shoehorn people in.
Yeah, I think back squat was probably the main one. We were proper fucking back squat advocates.
Because for the ones that can do it, it's a phenomenal exercise. Yeah. I've still got loads of clients who have big squats, great squats, but I'm more than happy now to just say, look, that isn't an appropriate exercise for you at the moment. In time, it may become an appropriate exercise, but today we're going to do this. And again, I think like I think a lot more movement patterns now. I don't think in exercises anymore. Everything's just a variation of a movement pattern, of loading a movement pattern. We can only move in certain ways. We can only load those movement patterns. I'm far less interested in the way in which I do that. All I'm interested in is, am I loading a squat pattern? Am I progressively overloading that squat pattern? Yes, job done.
Yeah. Have we become more or less obsessed with perfect technique?
For me, probably less, because nobody has perfect technique. If you're trying to get every client to do the perfect rep, and I don't think the perfect rep exists. My perfect squat would look different to your perfect squat. We can stand next to each other. We've both got different size femurs, different size arms. Everything's different. My torso is probably about the same size as your torso, and I've got legs that. It's like we're all completely different shapes and sizes. How can we ever look the same doing an exercise? It's completely. But again, it's that difference between safe form and dangerous form, and people struggle with that. Dangerous form is never acceptable. Not perfect form is, because what is perfect form? It doesn't exist. What's perfect for one person may not be perfect for somebody else. And I think it's one of the biggest mistakes, again, less experienced coaches make, because it's something we all do at the start. You learn how to do these exercises perfectly, but perfect reps don't create progress. Because a perfect rep, in order to be perfect, has to be like less than what you're capable of doing. Do you know what I mean? Like if we go for a maximum weight, like a 5 rep max, and it is a true 5 rep max, those 5 reps can't be perfect, because there's going to have to be an element of struggle there.
Yeah.
In order for them to be perfect, the weight would have to be light, and if the weight was light, we aren't going to get the same stimulus that we're looking for.
We can demo a perfect technique.
Well, this is what everyone always says. Like when you do demo the exercises, it looks easy, it looks this, it looks that. It's like, well, yeah, because I'm not using a working weight.
Yeah.
If I'm
doing 1-2 reps.
If I'm training in my session, then my rep probably wouldn't look that perfect, because I'm having to use a weight that creates a struggle. And again, it's having the sort of being able to recognise there's a big difference between not perfect and dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, as younger coaches as we were, you wanted it to be like obviously the perfect technique. You wanted it to be that perfect technique where we said about the back squat. So we were like wanting to get that like right. It has to be below this. But like at the end of the day, because of our maturity and training all of these different people, we do have that knowledge to think, well, actually, she can only go to parallel, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like we'll be happy with that. But if it does look a little bit too if they're arching over it and they just can't get it, it's like we'll just switch it.
We could spend a year trying to get a middle-aged woman who's not moved since she did PE to do a perfect arse to grass squat, and she's never ever going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
In that year, we could have overloaded what pattern she has in a safe and sensible way, and she could have made progress.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to draw that line. But what I will say, in the absence of experience, use caution. I think younger coaches should be cautious. Inexperienced coaches should be cautious, because if you're cautious, you're not going to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
As you become more experienced, then it's not a risk, but you have the experience to make the decision of when it is appropriate to add these loads. If you're inexperienced, then it's definitely probably safer to play on the be more cautious than be less cautious.
Yeah, I think early on, like with I keep forgetting perfect technique. I think earlier on, like when we were pushing, say, heavier weights, like testing 1 reps, I could probably say to myself, well, like I probably let people do it who shouldn't have been doing it for 1 reps and stuff like that. You don't like 1 reps, do you? Like for people.
3s and 5s now.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do anything less than a 3 or a 5 rep max for that reason, because in order for it to be a 3 or a 5 rep max, you're talking like 85 to 95%. For a 1 rep max, you're getting close to 100%, which is where risk comes in. There's no reason for normal everyday client to ever do 1 rep max. You're not in a powerlifting competition. If your 3 rep max improves, you've got stronger. If your 5 rep max improves, you've got stronger.
Are we better, we'll finish on this one, are we better at working around injuries rather than simply telling people not to train?
Yes, because everybody can train. And I don't think it's ever appropriate to say, like, I'm not going to work with you, because everybody can do something. It's the same when people say, oh, I'll not come in because I'm injured. Well, no, come in. I mean, unless it's like an injury that's directly affecting, you can always do something. You know, if you've got a bad knee, you can come in and do some upper body stuff. You can still get moving. You can still do something that's going to progress you closer to your goal. You don't just need to sit at home.
Yeah, I think you're right. When people are injured, they've got to. It sort of becomes an excuse, doesn't it? Like of not getting to the.
It's a reason not to do it. Well, it goes one of 2 ways. They use it as an excuse, or you get the other side of it that don't want to adapt and want to try to push through it. Neither of which are great.
No, definitely not.
And the answer's in the middle. If something fucking hurts, stop doing it. We'll do something else that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I'd rather them in. Like if they had a knee injury, elbow injury or something, I'd rather them come in and like, look, we can just still get in, because it's your habits of getting in is the main thing. Yeah. Even if you're coming in and just hitting fucking calves and abs, do you know what I mean? Like, I'd be happy.
Because most of the time when people drop that structure of coming to the gym, everything else goes with it. Mm-hmm. But also there's a lot of benefits to getting the heart rate up, getting the blood pumping. It helps promote the body's natural recovery mechanisms. Like, sitting around doing nothing when you're injured isn't great. You need to be staying active. As long as it's not something that's directly affecting the injury, then there's only benefits going to come from it.
I think we've always been good at adapting to it all. Even when I'm thinking like back in the early days, like when we got, like I remember Bish when he phoned up saying he had, and even Johnny Parrish, like it sounded like he had a fucking wooden leg. Do you know what I mean? On the phone, and Bish obviously spinal injuries, and it was like, well, you just take your time with things. I'm one of these coaches who's like, okay, well, I've got all these issues, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna see if we can do. Even say a back squat. It's like, let's say the movement pattern, let's say, and then it's like literally like, that's not for you. Yeah. We'll do this, and I think both of our knowledge has been just so rapid on the spot. I mean, think of all the people who you used to coach in Carnage.
Of course.
Of like where you've had to adapt in a group of 20 plus people of just boom, let's do it and switch. And they can always come in.
Definitely. But again, it's just experience.
Yeah.
But again, it comes down to, it's like, if you're inexperienced, be cautious.